This one's been requested for a while. Let's take a look at Weezing in Vivid Vault. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sable Eyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to take a look at our Detention Gas Weezing. This card has been out for a little while now, and it is a genuine spread deck. That is, we're going to put down a lot of damage on our opponent's side of the field and try and take knockouts that way. This card has been good in the past, and with the introduction of cards like Orbeetle VMAX, it has an opportunity to come back and deal some damage again. So a very, very cool list. What we'll do is we'll jump onto PTCGO and take a look at it in just a moment. But before we do, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'm not your dad. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. But I'd appreciate it. And doing good things makes the world go round. So like the video, more people will see it. Let's jump onto PTCGO and check out the list. So here we have the deck list. This one comes from Poker Fanatic over on Limitless. They recently played in the E&D's qualifier or something similar to that. I can't remember exactly what it was, and made top 8, so that's a pretty good effort. It's all thanks to Detention Gas Weezing. This card has been very good in the past and is still pretty good now. Detention Gas as an ability is very interesting. As long as this Pokemon's in the active, we get to put 1 damage counter on all of our opponent's basic Pokemon between turns. And at the moment, in the standard format, there are a lot of Pokemon that do find themselves have their basics, right? We do find themselves not evolving. They are going to take that damage, and that means as long as Weezing's in the active, we can deal those damage counters in between every single turn, which is really, really good. And Splattering Sludge, which I'm going to mispronounce a number of times in this video, is a good synergistic attack that goes with that for 40 damage. For 2 energy, we deal 40 damage. I'm really struggling with this kind of stuff. And we also deal an extra 20 damage to Pokemon on the bench that already have damage counters on it. So that means that with Detention Gas, every basic Pokemon gets dealt 10 damage counters. Splattering Sludge deals 40 to the active, and then also 20 to every benched Pokemon that has a damage counter on it, and then after your turn ends, you deal another damage counter to each of those basics. So Detention Gas, a really, really good spread attack, and it's just been made better by 2 cards coming out of Vivid Voltage. Namely, we have Orbeetle VMAX, which obviously with Eerie Beam is an incredibly good asset to stick those damage counters down. Back in the day, we used to pair Weezing with Tapu Koko with Flying Flip, because that used to get a bunch of damage counters onto the field, but Eerie Beam, I would argue, is better than Tapu Koko, because we can get damage counters down on the same turn as attacking for the first time with Weezing. So what we would find in the past is that sometimes there'd be Pokemon on the field that didn't have damage counters, and we wouldn't get that full value. Eerie Beam means that we can guarantee there's going to be a damage counter on every single Pokemon on our opponent's side of the field, which means we're going to get the most value out of Splattering Sludge. And we've got 2 copies of Orbeetle VMAX, so we might even be able to get Eerie Beam going a couple of times, which would be really, really good. Another card from Vivid Voltage that is obviously going to synergize quite well with our Weezing is the new Telescopic Sight. We've got 3 copies of this card. We attach this to our Weezing and deal 30 more damage to Pokemon on the bench that are Pokemon GX or Pokemon V. And that means that instead of dealing 20 damage to our opponent's benched Pokemon that have damage counters on them, we're going to be dealing, what, 50? I don't know why that maths was so hard. I almost said 70, and that would have been wrong, because it would have been 50, right? So 50 damage to benched Pokemon V and GX, which is really, really good. With the Tick from Weezing and the Eerie Beam from Orbeetle, we can very easily spread a ton of damage in the early game, which is really, really good. We have a lot of opportunities to deal that damage, and because we've got a lot of consistency in the list, we're able to get it going pretty early. Now, before we move on to any of our other cards, I just want to talk about this baby Blacephalon, which is an exceptionally good inclusion in this deck. Fireworks Bomb allows us to deal extra spread damage, but make it targeted. So that's really, really good for us for a Psychic and a Colorless, which is easy enough for us to get to, and I'll show you how in just a second. We can place 4 damage counters on our opponent's side of the field in any way we like, and that's decent. You know, it's a solid attack. If our opponent has exactly 3 prize cards remaining, however, we can place 12 damage counters down. And depending on how long the game has been going, we can potentially win off of Blacephalon's Fireworks Bomb attack. We can set up a whole bunch of damage, and then Blacephalon can put those damage counters down in specific places so that we can take knockouts to win the game. Or we can use this to set up and then try and get knockouts with our Weezing the next turn. So we've got a really, really good combo of attackers there. We're going to actually try and power them up with a very interesting energy kind of engine here. We've got 4 copies of Aurora Energy and 3 copies of Lightning Energy. And you might ask, well, that's a really strange one. We need Psychic on Blacephalon, we need Grass on Orbeetle, we need Twin on Weezing, and this is the best way to really get this engine going. Obviously, Aurora Energy provides that colored attack cost for things like Orbeetle or Blacephalon, so we can get that targeted energy down. We can use Twin Energy to provide the colorless attack cost for either of those Pokemon, because remember, Twin Energy provides 1 colorless when it's attached to a V or GX Pokemon. It's not useless, it provides 1 energy, so you can attach it to Orbeetle and get an attack off that way. And we can also use Tapu Koko with Dance of the Ancients to potentially accelerate some energy onto the field, specifically for cards like Blacephalon that need to come down on specific turns. So Tapu Koko can be really, really powerful. The fact that we don't need it early game means that we're not so worried about trying to discard energy early, like Pokemon like Pikachu and Zekrom and those kind of decks do. For us, we can use it in the mid to late game to power up an Orbeetle or to power up a Blacephalon. And at this point, it's worth mentioning that Orbeetle is actually a potent attacker in this deck as well. One of the things that this deck struggles with is when big 3-prize Pokemon stack up a ton of energy, and G-Max Wave is a potential option to remove those attackers from the field of play. Think about it like this: ADP has 280 HP. Maybe you got to spread off with Weezing and it's down to 50 or 60 damage. It's been dealt a bit of a hit. What we can do is we can potentially use Eerie Beam and then G-Max Wave to try and knock out an ADP with 3 energy on it and provide a bit more impetus for us to go on to win the game. It's actually a really good counter to things like Center Scorch as well, because they stack a lot of energy onto their attackers. So definitely worth considering. I'm going to try and speed through this now because there's a couple of Pokemon to talk about that I haven't yet. Obviously, we do have things like Oranguru and Crobat to try and provide a bit of consistency. Only 1 Crobat in the list though, so don't be too trigger happy. We want to keep those. We've got a copy of Mimikyu as well, which provides a really, really cool ability. Shadow Box Pokemon GX that have damage counters on them have no abilities. This is a specific tech card for decks like Mewtwo and Mew, which obviously rely on those Mewtwo's to get their attacks off. It's a very popular deck at the moment, and Mimikyu hard shuts that down. So definitely worth an inclusion. Cards like Oricorio as well can potentially be quite frustrating to deal with, but Shadowbox will lock those out. Although to be fair, you're unlikely to knock out Pokemon too frequently, so Mimikyu might not be as useful in that instance. But we also have 1 copy of Phione as well, and this card is actually really, really strong. What we can do is we can push Pokemon to the bench to try and knock them out with spread damage rather than hitting into them with our Weezing, right? So Weezing will do 40 damage into the active. If we've got extra spread damage we're trying to deal with things like Telescopic Sight, Phione is a good option. Plus, forcing your opponent to switch every turn can create situations where they are going to struggle, so definitely worth an inclusion there. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about any of the other cards in the deck. Suffice to say that U-Turn Board is useful to attach to our Orbeetle VMAX, and Birdkeeper is an incredibly powerful supporter in this deck specifically, because it means that you can have a Weezing in the active, you can play Birdkeeper, go into an Orbeetle, retreat back into the Weezing and attack again, or you can get 2 ticks of Orbeetle VMAX off thanks to the Birdkeeper as well. We also have Switch to facilitate that, but better to draw 3 cards. I really, really like this deck. I think it's a lot of fun. I say that a lot of the time. This one can actually win against lots of things, so we'll take it onto the ladder and we'll see if we can't get ourselves a W with Weezing. Alrighty, we're into a game now. We've got an Orbeetle, we've got a Tapu Koko, we've got an Oranguru, we've got a Pokemon Communication which we can play to get rid of this Weezing. I'm actually going to think about the Crobat here if it's in the deck, and it is. This has been a very fast start for us. We can also Primate Wisdom the Telescopic Sight to the top. I like that. We're playing against the Vikavolt. We don't really need that. We can discard it, attach the Aurora Energy, and then Crobat. This has been a really, really good start. I'm happy with this. I think we actually just discard one of these energies and grab ourselves another Koffing, and that's pretty much the perfect first turn. We've given ourselves enough opportunities here to try and get an attacker set up next turn, and we're likely playing against a deck like Pikarom here. I don't know about Vikavolt, to be honest, whether it's a legitimate strategy or not. But yeah, we're in a really, really good spot here. Bolton V coming out from our opponent. We want to find Weezing next turn. Twin Energy as well would be great. We have Telescopic Sight, so we can attach that to an attacker if we want to. So yeah, we're looking really, really strong, and we have that extra energy on the Orbeetle, so just in case our opponent does stack a ton of energy onto a Pokemon, we can get a knockout on something like a Pikarom, so I'm happy with that. Whew, boy, what a fast start. Our opponent now looking for a Pokemon to attach their Electrify damage to, energy to, sorry. Bolton, obviously, a very potent attacker in the early game, able to accelerate 2 lightning energies, and it looks like it will be a Pikarom coming down from our opponent, so that's where those energies will go, no doubt. And we're actually in a really good spot here. The worst part about this hand is that we're going to have to discard a ton of supporters, but look at this, we've actually managed to find a Weezing, so we can chuck the Sight down there, and then I think we just, actually, let's Primate Wisdom the Bird Keeper to the top. That seems like, oh my goodness. Now that happens all too frequently. you Primate Wisdom a Pokemon to the top, and then suddenly it just gets absolutely... Oh, you Primate Wisdom something to the top, and you just get the same thing back. We've got the Twin Energy. This is fantastic. We can... we can't... Well, we could use Tapu Koko now. We could power up this Weezing potentially. I don't want to miss out on attacking with a Weezing here. We've got an Aurora Energy in hand. That seems fine. And then we can Splattering Sludge. A bit of a misplay there, actually. Probably shouldn't have attached the Telescopic Sight because I didn't have damage on the bench yet. I forgot about that. I need to actually have the damage on the bench first. So we could have had that Telescopic Sight on the Weezing, and I feel like that might have been a better option, but hey, there's only so much you can do when you get a perfect hand like we've had here. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Alright, now, Funk Soul Brother, what are we going to do? I think we want to find another Koffing next turn. We're probably going to need to research, which might mean putting the Bird Keeper on top of the deck as well. There's an argument for playing down Orbeetle V as well, so we can get a second VMAX. I've left that bench space open just in case we need to get something else that's maybe a little bit more interesting. But I wouldn't say no to 2 Orbeetles, especially against Pikarom. I feel like we have a chance to really turn the tide of a battle by being able to use Orbeetle V to attack and knock out one Pokemon just out of the gates. Especially something like a Raichu and a Raichu, that would be great to knock out. They've got the research play here to draw a fresh 7 cards. And you'd think they'd just be knocking out with Bolt Storm, to be honest. And this is why I probably shouldn't have used that Telescopic Sight. If I didn't, then I would have been fine to keep it and deal more damage this turn. Let's promote the Weezing. I think that's probably the best thing to do. We get the Detention Gas ticks, which is good because we have the Weezing between turns. And that Pokecom is actually really good because it means we're guaranteed to find ourselves our friend. Where are you? Let's grab VMAX. Orbeetle VMAX here seems pretty strong. Probably could have just gone for a Koffing, to be honest, but this is fine. We never get punished. Look at this. We never ever get punished. Eerie Beam. Let's deal a bunch of damage here. Then what we can do is we can attach the Aurora Energy if we want. Actually, let's Primate Wisdom the research to the top first, because we might find something a little more interesting. We don't. Let's go the Telescopic Sight onto the Weezing. We will attach the Aurora Energy or discard the Blacephalon, because we're not likely to be able to get it going here. Have I used Eerie Beam yet? Yes, I have. Let's retreat, switch into the Weezing, and Splattering Sludge. And look at this damage. So good. Oh, tick, 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 tick. What a fun time. I hope to play this against Blacephalon at some point, because I would really like to see a massive knockout like that at some point. That would be really, really swell. Cherish Ball here from our opponent. They're probably going to grab something like a Dedenne, possibly even a Raichu and Raichu. Mewtwo and Mew. So this is the classic Mewtwo and Mew list. And that's 3 free prizes at some point, because Splattering Sludge will deal extra damage thanks to Mewtwo's weakness. Now it's only 80, but it's still pretty solid. It's better than 40. Definitely worth considering. Tapu Koko gets popped, which is fine. We have nothing really missing in our hand at all. We are going to top deck a research. They're going to boss out the Orbeetle. That's a very interesting choice. I wonder why they would do that. Surely just take the knockout on the Weezing. That's okay. Let's move the quick ball to the top. There's Marnie or Research here. Both are good, but Research is better. And look at that. We've actually not found a way to switch out here, which is a little frustrating. We'll Eerie Beam, though. We'll get some damage ticks down on all these Pokemon. We can do what? We can Turf Field, I guess. We can play that. We can Quick Ball. Let's Quick Ball away the Pokecom. Grab ourselves another Orbeetle, maybe. Actually, what I should have done is I should have grabbed the Weezing there, because I could have grabbed the Weezing. That's alright. We're going to just manually retreat our VMAX. We can grab the second one out of the deck. That's fine. We'll play down the Twin on this Koffing, attach the telescopic sight to it, and then we can Splattering Sludge. We'll deal a ton of damage, and we are just ticking over. We are ticking over nicely. We're getting a lot of damage on the field. We're almost in range of knocking out this Boltund. If our Weezing survives one more turn, we are good to go. If we get a couple of ticks off with the Tension Gas, we are set as well. We've got 2 VMAXs in play next turn, potentially, so looking really, really good. And a Quick Ball to find ourselves another Koffing. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. It's just a matter of whether or not we can get some power going soon. We will get a knockout on the Vikavolt next turn. We might actually be able to win this turn coming up. Let's have a think. Because we're going to do 50 damage with the telescopic sight, 210, plus the tick. If we get 2 Orbeetle attacks off, 2 Orbeetle Eerie Beams off, we actually win the game next turn, I think. It's pretty crazy. Alright, Bolt Storm. What I think we do, I think we grab this damaged Orbeetle VMAX. We'll put that in the active. A Lightning Energy. That's not particularly useful to us, but I guess we may as well attach it. You know, there's no reason not to. And let's Research. We've got a switch. Oh, we've got a switch, a Weezing, and a U-turn board. I think this is actually it. Eerie Beam here. We'll deal 10 to a bunch of stuff. Switch into the Orbeetle. And yeah, we won. We're gonna take 7 prizes that turn. I am glad that I noticed that when I did, because that was pretty good. We've got a decent start here. We're playing against a Munchlax. I think this is a stall deck. Let's just wait and see what our opponent does here. Yeah, we just took 7 prizes in a turn with a spread deck. How good is that? That was, like, legit really, really strong. So, very, very happy. And you can hear my cat in the background very happy with that as well. Unhappy that she's at home by herself. My wife is out at the moment, so she's not able to cuddle up with her, which is disappointing for the cat. But you're not here to talk about my cat, you're here to talk about Pokemon cards, or at least listen to me talk about them. We have a Weezing next turn, we have an Orbeetle. Now, I think this is going to be like some sort of Altaria stall. I don't know. Oh, are we playing up against the Cradilly deck? Is this Cradilly? Are we playing against Cradilly? I think we can just win this by spreading. More wild does nothing for you. It's not grabbing you anything. If we're playing against Cradilly, then we just... Like, I mean, we can't retreat, so we can't get value out of Orbeetle, but we do have the counter to Cradilly. It is Cradilly in Birdkeeper. We've got the counter, so we're looking good. Let's play down the Weezing. Even if we don't get an attack off this turn, it's going to be very strong. We'll play down the Orbeetle VMAX as well. Could just be worth moneying here, I think. Yeah. Just get rid of the Koffing. We're not getting knocked out, so I'm never worried about that. I'm more worried about not having energy, which I currently do not have, so we are going to need to find some of it. Let's switch into Orbeetle, though. We can get some damage off with Eerie Beam, and if we thin our hand a little bit here, we can get ourselves a big Crobat turn. We'll use Eerie Beam. We will Crobat for 4. We're looking for Energy Switch. That would be great. We don't get either of them. Cool. We could, like, attach to Orbeetle and then just retreat into the Weezing and deal damage to all the basics. That could potentially be a good play. We will evolve another Orbeetle here, though. We want to get the second one in play nice and quickly. We're going to attach to the active, then I'm going to retreat, and we're just going to go into the second Orbeetle, because then I can at least Eerie Beam again next turn. And to be honest, that might be all that we need to do in this game, right? We might just need to Eerie Beam and then pass like a bunch of times, and we'll eventually win because we don't need to worry about energy, we don't need to worry about any of that kind of stuff, we just need to worry about finding our pieces at the right time. And I think Phione's going to be a good card as well here, just to annoy our opponent, make it a little bit more awkward for them to maneuver. They're not going to be discarding energy. In fact, maybe Phione isn't that good. But it means we can put Mawile on the bench to get extra damage counters with Splattering Sludge at some point, I suppose. So it's not too bad. They're going to Snack Search, they fail, and it is our turn again. We have a Pokecom, not particularly useful. Eerie Beam first. Get our damage out. We're halfway to taking a knockout on that Munchlax. Haven't got down either of their cards yet, which would allow them to get a lock on. So let's play down the U-turn board. We are not item locked, we are not switch locked, so we might as well switch into another Orbeetle here. We can get an extra 10 damage down. Then I think we just attach to Weezing. This is fine. We have access to Birdkeeper next turn. We have access to a Retreat next turn. If we find an energy off of the next 4 cards of our deck, we should be good to go. So, looking pretty solid. Here's a boss for our opponent. They're going to try and stall something active. You would presume probably the Crobat. Actually, maybe the Weezing. No, they won't want that. They're fighting the Credilli, though, so they're going to set themselves up to try and lock us into the active. This is actually really good for us. Having that Birdkeeper in our hand is a big deal. Here's the Crobat. They're going to Yell Horn. We've seen this before. They're going to Credilli. So now we cannot retreat. But because we have access to Birdkeeper, we are A-okay here. As long as we find 1 energy, right, off of the next 4 cards, 1 for the top deck, and then 3 for Birdkeeper, we should be okay. Telescopic Sight seems pretty good. Let's Birdkeeper go into Orbeetle. We've found access to our gear, so let's throw all this stuff down. We can attach the Aurora, that seems fine. We'll get rid of Tool Scrapper, I think. Then we can Eerie Beam. Get rid of all that stuff. We are not confused, so we're not locked. We can't. We're not going to be able to be stopped from retreating. So we can retreat into Weezing, and now let's Whirlpool Suction like I was talking about. We can get ourselves a nice little chunk of damage here. They're going to put the Munchlax up, fair enough. We can Splattering Sludge, deal that knockout, and we've got, what, 50 damage on that Mawile, so it's going to be about... How much more does it need to have? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so we're looking really, really strong here. We're in a really good position. And as long as we can continue attacking, we should be able to win this game. Because Credilli is not designed to deal with a deck like this. It is just flat out not designed to do it. It's designed to deal with decks that don't play Birdkeeper. And I play Birdkeeper. So the fact that there's 1 more of those left means that there's pretty much nothing that our opponent can realistically do. Nothing that they can expect to do to win the game. It's just a matter of how long they stick around here. But it's good to see people still playing Credilli, a deck that Jay Sparksy popularized. If you haven't been able to check out Sparksy on Twitch, then I would 100% recommend it. Jump onto twitch.tv/JSparksy for that. We've got ourselves another Telescopic Sight. We've got a Twin Energy as well. I think it's actually best here to thin a bunch of cards, because we want to go looking for another Birdkeeper if we can. So let's play down the Phione again. You never know when we might need it. Then we can Hottie Search. And there's that Birdkeeper, so we're saving it for later. I don't even care about this. We're just going to take a knockout on the active here. Because we're going to take 2 prizes anyway, so we may as well get them. And we save the Phione for later. 3 prizes, sorry, because we knock out the boy as well, the Mawile. So yeah, we've actually come into a pretty good game here, in the sense that we have been able to get our strategy off. Our opponent's just not been able to do anything because they haven't been able to confuse lock us with Credilli. They haven't been able to item lock, they haven't been able to do any of that stuff. So, yeah, feeling pretty good. Orbeetle and Weezing together are a pretty potent combination, and I think in the next turn and a half we're going to win this one. If we find a switch, actually, we're guaranteed to win. Because we can Birdkeeper, retreat, and then switch. Get all of the damage that we need. That's 6. We're dealing 40 with Splattering Sludge. We'll be A-okay there. Or if they play down another Pokemon like this Phione, we might have another chance, oh my god, what am I talking about? If they played another Pokemon, another basic Pokemon like a Munchlax, we could almost definitely win. But it's just a matter of what our opponent does here. What are they going to do? What's their plan? What is the plan? Honestly, we can just attach an Aurora Energy and then Tapu Koko onto a VMAX and win the game that way also, but where's the fun in that, you know? We might just do it. Depends how I'm feeling. We'll see. Let's find out. Am I about to do it? I think it's worth doing. I think it's worth just doing. But if we Phione, we might bring out the, let's just Splattering Sludge and knock out the doll. Yeah, we'll just attack with Weezing. I was about to do it. I was about to go into the play, but we would need to use Phione, and they would just bring out the doll, which would mean that there's no point in powering up the VMAX, so it's fine. Because, I mean, we win next turn regardless, because this Critterly is never getting removed from the field of play, and we only need one prize to win, so yeah, feeling pretty comfy with this one, not going to lie to you. It's good to see a plan come together. Unfortunately, though, we haven't really seen... Well, I mean, that Pikachu Zekrom's a meta deck, but we haven't seen, like, a really, really strong performance from a meta deck yet. We haven't been challenged. We've been able to set ourselves up relatively comfortably. So, we will wait and see. Maybe the third game we get, we might be able to find the deck that is going to set up in our face, and we have to beat them that way. I don't think that there's anything much that this guy can do here. Oh, boy. It's a mid-video yawn. Oh my god, I don't mean that to be disrespectful, I'm just bored. Oh my goodness. Alright, are you going to pass yet? They're going to Yell Horn. Alright, they're going to try and paralyze, confuse me so that there's a chance that I don't knock you out. I'm holding Bird Keeper, so I'm just going to play that. We'll just go into the Weezing and then knock you out with Splattering Sludge. Seems like a pretty solid plan to me. So there you go, we managed to beat Critterly's stall, which is a good matchup for us. Let's go one more on the ladder and see how we do. So we've given our opponent a mulligan here. They are going first. It's Gary OK 29. Didn't miss an A there. You know, no, he did. We're seeing two Jirachis here. Jirachis are my favourite things. Jirachis are my favourite things because what they do is they get knocked out easily by a Weezing. I like that about a Pokemon. If I can see a Pokemon that gets knocked out easily by a Weezing, I'm happy. But it looks like they're going to try and remove them, putting another Jirachi back into the active, and then Pokemon communicationing the Jirachi away. We're going to get a hint as to what we're playing up against here. There's lots of decks that play Jirachi. It could be like Centiskorch, Phanpy, okay. Are we seeing the fabled Donphan Spiritomb? This is a deck that I've been interested in for a while, but I've never been able to find a decent list. So, you never know. You never know, this could be it. And if it is, this might be a video in the future. In fact, we are going to go light goals in just a second. Let me play this turn. We've got a U-turn board, we've got a Weezing. Let's think here. We need to draw cards, but we've also got access to an Orbeetle. We need to draw cards. We've got to grab the Crobat. We're just in this awkward spot where we've got so few resources that we're happy to get rid of. We can Aurora to the active and then get rid of the Lightning. We don't want to attach the U-turn board. We want to save that. Let's Crobat for a few. We find access to research, which is good. We can play down the turf field. We can play down the U-turn board. We can switch into the Crobat just in case we've got a better option, and then we can research. So I like that. We also have a quick ball, which I'm a big fan of. Means we can find ourselves a Orbeetle and put that down. This is actually going quite well. We can play down the U-turn board if we like. We can play down the telescopic sight on the Koffing if we like. We have Orbeetle VMAX for next turn and a research. I think we retreat into Orbeetle here just because we do have the guaranteed retreat. I'm not going to attach the telescopic sight because I don't want it to get immediately removed. Like goal, 150 likes, ladies and gentlemen. If we can get to 150 likes, and here's the thing, you guys that are still watching, you're the ones that actually like the channel, right? Because there's a ton of people that just drop in for the first 5 minutes, see the list, and then leave. If you're watching and you like the video, and 150 people do it, then I will get a video of Donphan Spiritomb done tomorrow. Donphan Spiritomb tomorrow, 150 likes. Consider it promised. Alright, I can probably record a decent couple of games with Spiritomb, provided, of course, that we find a decent list. But yeah, if you want to see that, then let me know. 150 likes, and we will do it. We've got a Phampi moving into the active. We've got the Jirachi and a Professor's Research from our opponent. What a great hand. Spiritomb, obviously, with that big cape there. Tape of Toughness. Tape of Toughness. I'm going to draw a picture of that. What would a Tape of Toughness look like? It's very, very strong, and it combos quite nicely with Donphan, because Earthquake for 1 energy deals 120 damage and then puts 20 damage on each of your bench Pokemon, which is normally a massive downside, right? But Spiritomb benefits from that, so pretty good. It's pretty good. We're about to see it here. There's the Earthquake. It's a good thing that I retreated out of the Crobat, because that would have been a bad knockout. See all the damage that's there. Wow, Weezing straight away. Oh my goodness, we are living the dream here. We've got all the things that we want. We have a replacement stadium. We have a telescopic sight. Look at me. I can research for 7 as well. Ha Oh, feels good. Feels good. This is a terrible hand. At least we have an energy. We can attach Aurora and try and draw... well, not draw, but try and get some damage off with this Weezing here. I think I'd get rid of the Quick Ball. And honestly, I'll probably just go double Quick Ball here, grab ourselves another Orbeetle, and then play down the Orbeetle VMAX next turn. Seems like a logical thing to do. Let's go into our Weezing. The sight won't be great here, but we will get a ton of damage down. We are very slowly powering up the Spiritomb, but look at this, right? There's only so much damage that this deck can deal with having on its field, and at the moment, we are putting on a lot of pressure. They have to knock out this Weezing, then they have to deal with 2 Orbeetle VMAXs and another 3 Weezings, right? So we should be able to theoretically get ourselves into a good spot here. They will have Scoop Up nets, but that's okay. We can live with it. Building Spite, they're just helping us. They're just helping us on our way. I really appreciate it, Spiritomb. And they're going to Marnie. Disappointing, but we were going to Marnie next turn anyway, so we would have seen these 4 cards plus the top deck for 5 anyhow. And if the Turffield stays in play, then it's not a problem anyway. And look at this, we've got a Research off at the top. This is great stuff. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I think we discard this Lightning Energy and try and find ourselves a Weezing and a Twin off of the Research. What we might actually do, since we have the switch, if the Turffield stays in play, I'm going to promote the Orbeetle V that's undamaged. Because then we can evolve that into a VMAX and then switch into the Orbeetle VMAX on the bench, which has a free retreat because of the U-turn board, then Research, and we'll be good to go. These are the pro plays here, and look at this, we're starting to see some of that damage moved around by Jinx. We've got Building Spites coming in. I actually think that I'm going to get a knockout on that Spiritomb next turn. As long as I get a Weezing, obviously. I will need the Weezing. I'm ahead of myself a little bit. They've only got 2 cards left. Let's go for it. We've got ourselves Turffield. We've actually top-decked another switch, which is, I'm not going to say unfortunate, but it's definitely not what I was looking for. We can Eerie Beam, deal a bunch of damage. Then we can switch. We can Eerie Beam again, deal a bunch of damage. Then we can Research, hopefully find Weezing Twin. Twin? No Weezing. Okay. Let's Tool Scrapper, actually. That gets us 2 prizes. We can get rid of these 2 capes. Goodbye, Pokemon. We are no longer friends with you. You can go into the bin. Weezing? No. Weezing? No. It would have been amazing to get Weezing there. We would have absolutely cleaned up on this Donphan, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be... Is there a way... We've got 2 Lightning Energy in the discard pile already. Let's play down the Koffing. We will play down the Aurora Energy on Orbeetle VMAX, I think. Get rid of a boss? Maybe a Bird Keeper? Maybe a Marnie? I think a boss. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to retreat again into the fresh Orbeetle. Because we can retreat with the energy if we absolutely have to. Or we can just Bird Keeper and get ourselves going that way, right? We can just make the same play that we did last turn where we Eerie Beam, Bird Keeper, get an energy and go from there. So I like this. But yeah, there would have been almost nothing that our opponent could have done if we were able to get the Weezing play off there, because we would have taken 3 prizes in a turn, and we would have been, or actually 4 prizes, because the Jinx would have been knocked out as well, and we would have been in a pretty much unassailable position. So maybe it's a good thing we didn't win that turn there, because the game will now continue. Here comes a martial arts dojo, so this Earthquake is going to be dealing quite a lot of damage now. It's going to be dealing an extra 40, so 160, which is frankly absurd. If they do use Earthquake, though, they will be knocking out a couple of Pokemon on their bench, so I'm not unhappy with them using it. They got to find a couple of capes here if they want to keep Spiritomb and Jinx alive. So we're in a really, really good spot. If they do Earthquake, they get the 20 damage on each of their Pokemon, and it'll mean that we're going to take another prize, which I like. Alright, Spiritomb, Building Spite. Where is the damage from this Jinx going to go? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to move one off of the Spiritomb onto the fresh Spiritomb, and that means that Earthquake now won't knock out both of their attackers. Oh, and they're going to scoop up now the Jinx. Top tier plays. Good play from our opponent. Well done, and now you can actually use the Jinx ability again, which is really, really good. Ominous Posture now can move a damage counter from that. Seems like a waste, frankly, because you literally just had... Okay, I don't understand why you would do that. I was going to say you can move it off of the Donphan if you want, but that's okay. Seems fine. There's a bunch of spread damage. We're going to get a knockout with Eerie Beam, so that's fine. Let's Eerie Beam here. Maybe we can find ourselves a Weezing. Can we find a Weezing off of these prizes? Weezing? No, okay. Let's Bird Keeper into the Orbeetle and find a Weezing. No, okay. Let's Eerie Beam. Take a prize and hopefully find a Weezing. Can we find a Weezing? Weezing? Oh. Oranguru a card to the top of the deck and see if we can find a Weezing. What we should do is we should Tapu Koko. We can actually get a knockout on the Donphan here by attaching energy to the Orbeetle VMAX. We can knock out this Donphan if we like. I would much prefer... Oh, there's the concession. Fair enough, too. It was going to be tough to win from there. Wow, Orbeetle did a great job in that one. Good win. So despite the fact that we couldn't find him, Weezing ends up winning 3 games, and against some really cool decks as well. Definitely a good couple of games to see. Credilli always exciting to find on the ladder, and that Donphan Spiritomb deck, incredibly cool combo. If you want to see that next, I mentioned during the video, 150 likes on this one would be great. If not, then I will never make a YouTube video again. It's not true, I'll probably make them because I find them fun. But I'm definitely going to take a look at the deck at some point. If you want to see it tomorrow, 150 likes. If not, it'll be up at some point in the future. It just won't be tomorrow. It'll be like Friday or something. I don't know, whenever I get around to it. Other than that, thank you very much for spending 30 minutes with me today. I appreciate it quite a lot. Subscribe if you're not already. You're probably watching lots of these videos, so just popping up on your recommended, but you're not subscribed, so double check that. And also like the video down below. Check out the list as well. You can just copy that one straight into PTCGO. And it's only got 1 Crobat, so it's relatively easy to put together if you have the funds for that. Thank you everyone, yet again, for your persistence in watching these deck profile videos. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time for more from the Sableyes.